Hey, yo. Well, you see the name of the title is Bible Version Conspiracy, hijacking Gail Riplinger's work. The work, particularly of New Age Bible versions. So I keep having this conversation with this boy, and that's what he is to me. He's a boy because I'm older than he is. And even though he's a young man, but he's a boy because the way he's acting too is just he can't seem to leave well enough alone. He couldn't get out the audio book that he wanted regarding Gail Riplinger's New American Bible version, New Age Bible versions. So he evidently got butthurt or something. And I'm not trying to talk bad about him. I'm not going to say bad things about him. I'm just saying what he's doing is wrong. He couldn't get what he wanted and he got upset and he got mad. And so he was so called trying to or finding things in her book that weren't true and accurate and everything. And as with a lot of books, as with many books, people dig up stuff sometimes, and sometimes their sources aren't always correct. Sometimes they're a little iffy. And I've realized that about some of her books I've read. But you know what? I'm not going to go out there, and I'm not going to go out there and make this big dramatic, well, whatever, scene and say she's wrong here, she's wrong there, and she's, and talk down to her, talk bad about her. One minute he's saying that she's like truthful in this, but not truthful in that. He doesn't want to cause too much this or too much that, but he's doing a whole lot to put down her work that she did on New Age Bible versions, and then probably others too, and not only her, but probably I hadn't seen all the videos, but I'm assuming you know that he's doing this thing with Sam Gipp, Ken Hovind, which I'm not really much for Ken Hovind anyway. Sam Gipp is one. It seems like he's he's all that, but at the same time too, Sam Gipp isn't perfect and everything. So he makes mistakes just like anybody else does, and so that seems to be his whole theme, his whole desire now to make Gail look bad, even though he says he doesn't want to make her look bad. He doesn't want to bring out all this stuff, but he feels like he needs to do it. I just got through reading some of his comments that he commented to me on some of the things that I was writing to him on Bible version conspiracy. It seems like he's got this small group of followers, and let's see here. He has a small group of followers, and they seem to be on some kind of thing, whether it's Facebook or whatever, and so they're called co-conspirators. And so about every other video he makes, or so about every video he makes, he's like, you can donate to my coffee and all this other stuff. And what it is, he's trying to get up all this money to do whatever he's doing, and at the same time, he's belittling Gail Riplinger in a lot of ways. But he said he's not belittling her. He's by putting his own ads. He's adding stuff to her works. It seems like some people like that to me will get sued in a heartbeat. But we're talking about 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Dare any of you go to law against a brother or sister in the Lord? But there's no going to court yet. But what he's doing, if she was any other person, I'm pretty sure if she hasn't already, they would give him a cease and desist. But he's mentioned that before. I saw several of his videos from months back, and he was talking about this. I thought, well, It doesn't seem like too big of a deal, but once I saw this about a week ago, I was like, oh, boy, oh man, this is a big deal now. And he seems to be berating her, putting her down somewhat in a nice way, but at the same time, too, he's like, I'm not trying to do this, I'm not trying to do that, but this needs to be exposed, blah, 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 blah. Well, he's doing a really good job of exposing this stuff because whether he exposes it or not, whether it's truth or not, I don't think it's on his part. He's doing it for the honest reasons. Because if he was doing it in an honest way, in the honest reasons, the reasons to not make her look bad, he wouldn't be saying anything at all. He would just be like, okay, well, there's some kind of things that are confusing. Why don't you just ask Gail about it? Ask Gail Riplinger. And I think something there was some kind of mention that in her free thing or whatever on AV Publications, she addresses Joseph Armstrong. And instead of just making a scene all about it, trying to embarrass the woman, humiliate her and her family, um, because he got, like I said, he was upset because he didn't get what he wanted. He didn't get to do the audio book that he wanted to do because something about her backing out or whatever. And they had like a Facebook thing, and he gave them certain privileges to her daughter and son-in-law and stuff, and her to help with managing the Facebook regarding the turning the book into an audio. I think New Age Bible versions. I think that's what it was. If I'm wrong, sorry. But anyway, it just seems that he just won't leave well enough alone. He's constantly trying to go after her. There, like I said, there are a couple of things that I found slightly confusing when I did read her books, but I was just like, I just thought, well, maybe if I ask her, she'll let me know email. I didn't get around to asking some things, but here lately, well, not lately, but the last day or so, I did email her and everything, and she was telling me about the situation and all that and others, and what the email that I read, not the email, the PDF file about him being exposed, and but she was really nice about it. You know, the same thing that I read is pretty much is what she was telling me to email, and I reiterated with her. I was like, it's ridiculous, is what this boy's doing, and he just why won't he just leave well enough alone? But no, instead of holding his own row or staying in his lane, so to speak, he can do those things and not involve her work, right? He can just write a book about it if he doesn't like what she wrote. Write a book about it. There's been other people that wrote a book about it, but no, he wants to humiliate her by bringing up her past marriages, if she even had past marriages. By what Wait D Wait or whatever his name was talking about, that they found her to be her credential, her integrity lacking or what have you and everything because of her past measures. So what? I mean, we all mess up. We all make mistakes. We all sin. Joseph, you act like you're not even sinning, but you do. Instead of worrying about how many times he's been married because of what somebody else said, why don't you just try to focus on your wife and make her feel better for having that baby? You know, instead of stay cooped up in your little room all day, getting on here trying to get money off people and everything, and to buy you a coffee. Why don't you just go in there and rub your wife's back and rub her feet and make her feel good about herself? That my husband's in here with me; he's taking care of me, instead of jumping all over her about what she did wrong, and all this, and have the audacity to get on, have a live and correct everything or the things that you don't like in her book. What are you going to do? Publish it? You going to publish it after you correct all of it? I doubt that. So it just seems like he's just borderline narcissistic. He's like, I'm doing all wrong. I'm not apologizing to nobody. It's not me. It's her. And I'm not the one with the problem. It's her kind of mentality. And it just seems like he's a little narcissistic. It's just, I'm not the one with the issue. It's Gail Riplinger, but he's the one that's pushing things. He's the one that's taking her work and changing it. Everything that a Bible critic would do, he's doing. Everything that you would see that a translator of or a reproofer or a corrector or editor do to change things up to make it sound good and make it feel good, go along smoothly to the reader. And that's what he's doing. But in this case, he wasn't hired and he wasn't asked to do that, to publish it, to a work that was already published. I mean, like I said, Gil might have missed a here or there on a couple of things, and I can't remember right off what I had questions about, but um, I really wished I put it in the email. Well, I did say something to her. I was like, yeah, I know your work wasn't perfect in some little sources, but here and there, but I think those can be explained, whether bad or good. But what he seems to be doing is just that he just wants to take her through the grinder. And like, I don't want to do this with her. I don't want to do that with her. But really, why is he keeping on? Why does he just keep on keeping on? He told me something other than there's going to be more to be revealed in the next videos and stuff like that. And then asked me, he's like, what's the point of us keep doing, conversation? Because I'm pretty much saying the same thing. I was like, well, you're saying the same thing too. So, I mean, basically, that's what I'm saying. But I'm like, no, I'm not going to go on your little little shows and, and watch you bash somebody, an old lady, bash her to pieces because you don't like what she's saying. I'm not going to sit there and watch you tear apart somebody, and then when she's trying to be, what as they say, chill about it, and not go to what you likely could do, get you caught for copyright infringement or something, or some kind of, if not, I mean, as long as he ain't as long as he's not publishing or anything, I guess it's okay. But it just seems like somebody could say a little bit more, do a little bit more on that, because next thing you know, it's going to not only be with her, but it's going to be with anybody out there who has a King James Version Bible. He wants to critique everything, and make sure they're saying the truth, or if they're not saying the truth, he's going to make them to be he's going to call them out, pretty much. I don't think he has anything to. It doesn't seem like he's got a whole lot to do with his life after he gets off work, rather than sit in that room and not take a little bit more time with his kids. You know, I'm not saying that he's a bad dad, but I'm just saying it. Just there's a couple times you heard the kids in the background, and he's just sitting there. He's like, and the wife, she could. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be ugly or rude. I'm sure she's a sweet woman. Children are sweet kids. But it seems to me that instead of him doing all that, he could be spending a bit more time with them. That's all I'm saying. And I don't mean to say that in a rude way. I'm just saying, instead of bashing the Gail Riplinger on stuff that's nonsense, a small issue, small peas, you could be, you know, focusing your time on your family, Joe. And so, anyway, I just don't get that. I don't get why he keeps on keeping on. I don't get why he just won't leave well enough alone. And so he won't stay in his own row. He won't. Uh, it seems like he's kind of plagiarizing in some cases, but um, whenever he starts rewriting things in her book, even though it's not really. He's copied all that stuff down or did something other where he can access it, and he changes it, puts little notes in it and stuff like that. And he wants people to give him money, and so he can continue his ministry or work or whatever it is. I ain't donating to crazy people like that. His ain't mine. I don't know about y'all, but I wouldn't donate a penny to him to help him and his family, as he calls it. If he's going to help him and his family, he's going to keep. He talked about wanting another computer on one of those videos. Like, I don't know if that's what was months ago or whatever, but or here recently, he said he needed another computer and everything. That if people could help him contribute with that, whatever, and that would be great. And this and the other, blah blah blah. It just seems like he's getting on there just to get money off people and just talk about people when he shouldn't. He just should leave well enough alone, stay in his own lane, and whatever detraction he wants to make, it's stop plagiarizing what she has and just write whatever you got to write and be done with it. Publish your book and stop trying to republish hers into his own image, so to speak. Well, that's about all I'm going to say on that. I just hope the young man gets a life and starts um, doing more with his family, and leave the lady alone and stop being disrespectful to her, and that's all I'm saying on it. And Joey, if you don't like what I'm saying, I don't know what else to tell you, bud. But what you're doing is it's not good. It's very disrespectful to her and people around her age, and you should know better. If you know God's word, and stop telling me, don't God bless me when you're cursing a woman. Because that's pretty much what you're doing. You're cursing her by trying to pull all the stuff up, and then in every little comment you go, God bless. No, don't do that. Don't do that. See ya.